All right. Thank you, Mary, very much. All right. So now being 6 o'clock, I'll call the November 7th meeting of the Old Colony Planning Council Finance Committee to order. First item of business is the accessibility statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protections to Beneficiaries with regard to the Title VI Non-Discrimination Protections and the State Non-Discrimination Protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Mary, can we do roll call vote?
We can. Abington? I don't believe anybody's coming today, but Avon.
Present.
Thank you. Bridgewater. I know Sandra Wright was supposed to be joining, but when I do roll call, I'll double check with her. Brockton. East Bridgewater. Easton. Halifax. Hanover. Hanson. Kingston. I know Val's supposed to be joining us. Pembroke.
Present.
Thanks, Becky. Plymouth.
Present. Lee Hartman.
Thank you, Lee. Plimpton.
Present.
Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman. That's you, Noreen. And at large.
Present.
Thank you. And just Madam Treasurer, I do believe that there will be others that will be joining us, but we can move on with the next item.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mary. All right. So before we bring Jennifer Cook from Clifton Larson Allen, I'd like to thank the members of the council who were involved in the selection process of a new audit firm for OCPC. While changing firms might have caused some concerns, those concerns were raised and addressed, and not only through the process, but also through the working relationship and communication with OCPC staff. As a treasurer, I'd like to thank Jennifer and CLA for their professionalism and working relationship. And in the spirit of transparency, best practices, it's always good to open the books to a fresh set of eyes. So thank you, Jennifer, for helping us with this. I'd also like to say thanks to Brenda Robinson. Over the years, Brenda she's so skilled at what she does and professionalism, her dedication to OCPC fiscal soundness, and they're the foundation which we have really, it's become our bedrock. So thank you very much, Brenda, for all your hard work. We know that Brenda is assisted by Sean Noel and Charlie Kilmer, and we want to extend our appreciation to for them as well, and to all three of you actually for keeping council members informed. And we have the greatest confidence in your abilities to handle these financial matters for us. So thank you for everything you do. Really appreciate it. All right, so now I will turn things over to Jennifer to go over the results of the audit.
Madam Chairperson, may I make a request?
Sure.
Mary, could you or Megan allow John into the meeting? He's having trouble, and I would like him to be on board with us also.
Yes, I don't see him in the waiting room, but I'll find out what's going on. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Mary, I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Megan.
All right, Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much. And I do want to thank you for choosing CLA as your new auditors. And I just wanted to start off by saying, it's been a real pleasure working with your management team. So I echo the sentiments that you said. It's been a really collaborative process. And I know some of it, learning each other's processes has been, I think, really smooth. And I just really wanted to reiterate that management was really great to work with and cares a lot about this organization and about the audit process itself. So it says that disabled, Mary, so I can't share my screen.
Did you get that now? Thank you.
Yep. I'm assuming you can see my screen now, correct?
Correct.
Great. Okay, great. So first, I just like to give an overview of what we're engaged to do, right? So that's an express opinions on the financial statements that they're in accordance with GAAP, and that's over your business type activities, which is OCPC itself, as well as ROM, which is your blended component unit, as well as your fiduciary activities, which is the OPEB trust. We provide a report on internal control over financial reporting. We communicate any other internal control deficiencies or items that we might identify. And then related to federal programs, we do a single audit, so a uniform guidance report, which is we express an in relation to opinion on the schedule of expenditure of federal awards. We express an opinion on compliance with the major programs, as well as provide a report on internal controls over those major programs. So first, I just wanted to highlight open items and where we are in the process. I believe you have all received a draft of the financials. This is really what's left open on this engagement. So we are waiting for the responses on the significant deficiency, which I'll get into later. It is currently in our quality review process. So any changes or recommendations from that process, I will communicate with management and they can share with the board as necessary if there are any. I don't envision any significant changes, but we do like that second set of eyes. Once that is completed and we are ready to issue, management will provide a signed representation letter, and then we will issue the final reports and file the submission for the data collection form. One other item is you typically file a UFR. I have been in discussions with management about whether it's required, and we have to do some follow-ups, hopefully with the state, to determine that our conclusions are correct, and we either will be filing or not filing, so that that is currently open. I did want to bring up that we will be filing the Form 990 at PC for the Regional Operations and Management, Inc. It's not due till May 15th, but once we issue, we plan to move forward and get that issued as soon as possible. Next, I just wanted to hit some financial highlights. You'll see in the opinion, similar to last year, there is a qualification opinion for the lack of recognition of the net pension liability. I know this has been an ongoing topic, and that management's working through trying to get a legislative resolution. Unfortunately, that will still stay in there, but we did have unmodified opinion related to everything else, as well as for the OPEB trust. And then just reference to one other matter, because it's comparative, you'll see a reference to prior auditors just as you compare it to prior year. Next, I just did a high level comparison from year to year. So for your current assets, that's really a big driver as you've received some advanced funding. So it's really drove up your cash balance there. Deferred outflows, that big change really relates to OPEB. Current liabilities, that's really just timing of payment of the liabilities. And so as you may know, that some of the subrecipient costs are paid and once the funding has come in from the Commonwealth. And so I know that there's been significant delays in the receipt of some of those AR balances. And so that's strictly a timing difference. Non-current liabilities, that is directly related to your OPEB liability. It did increase by $175,000 this year. And so any questions from a statement of net position before I move on? Great. Operating revenues, slight decrease related to some decreases in the COVID funding, as well as in the prior year, you had other revenue recognized related to OPEB. So sometimes it results in either an expense or a revenue, depending on the change. And last year it was a revenue. So that is in that operating revenue amount. Your operating expenditures went up 9%, which is basically in line with your budget, your increase in hiring as it relates to this the new upcoming funding that you will be having. No other significant swings there. Any questions on the changes in that position? Great. I did want to just put this slide to be comparative for your OPEB trust. As you can see, there is a big swing in your fair value of investments. The funding is relatively consistent between year to year. And so I just wanted to provide a visual of where you stand from a funding perspective on the OPEB. Next, like to hit the big footnote. So net OPEB liability is probably a big topic in a lot of conversations. So you can see that this year was just over $1 million. I like to put comparative 900,000 in the prior year. And then most importantly is this sensitivity analysis, right? Because there are so many assumptions that go into this liability. Any changes in those assumptions really drastically change how your liability is. And so you can see how different your liability would change if your discount rate was increased or decreased by 1%. Next is your lease receivable. This is something you wouldn't have seen last year. So you did enter into as a lessor in your office space starting in January of this year. So under GASB 87, you're required to report the present value of those future lease payments as a receivable and a deferred inflow. So that's something that you'll see that's not comparative as to prior years. So I just wanted to draw attention. It's not a big amount, but that is why it's showing up now. Lastly is the net pension liability. As we discussed, I think you're very familiar with this. And so I just wanted to highlight again, we did include disclosure language related to the efforts of the council in trying to resolve this and get resolution in the legislation. Any questions as it relates to financials? Anything based on your review of the draft financials that maybe I didn't cover? Happy to answer that here as well. Great. Next is your required communications. You'll receive a formal letter, but we just like to hit high level the items that will be in that letter. So this year required to be the implementation of GASB 96, which is similar to leases, but for subscription assets. They did not have an impact this year. However, it was required to be implemented. Significant accounting estimates relate to the useful life of your assets, as well as the measurement of your net OPEB liability. We review those for indicators of management bias, and we make sure they're reasonable. Disclosures were neutral, consistent, and clear. We had no difficulties or disagreements with management, and we do not have any past adjustments that we did not record as a result of the audit. As I discussed, the management will provide a representation letter once we're ready to issue. We did not have any other consultations and no other issues that will be required to be reported in this report. Lastly, the GAO report, sometimes referred as the Yellow Book report. This is where we did identify one significant deficiency related to reconciliation of grant activity. And this really just relates to making sure that what's in the financial records and the billing is reconciled for late adjustments or changes and timing differences and all that stuff. So I just want to clarify, we did not identify any large amounts. It's just the lack of that reconciliation. So, we met a lot about this, and I know policies and procedures have already been put in place to respond to this. And so that is our one finding related to internal controls. We did not have any non-compliance with laws, regulations, or grants. Lastly is your uniform guidance report, which is the single audit. You had $3.8 million in federal expenditures. And there was one major program tasted, which is your aging cluster. We had an unmodified opinion on that. And no internal controls over the compliance of those programs as well. So that is everything that I had. Open up for questions. Any other comments?
Questions or comments for Jennifer? All right, I don't see any hands or comments, nothing in the chat. At this point, I think we're all set with Jennifer. Mary, can we let Jennifer leave the meeting?
Yes, we could, as long as there were no, and of course, as you know, Madam Treasurer, is that we sent this out on Friday for the weekend for folks to take a look at it. So, so Jennifer, I think that as long as there are no other questions.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you,
Thank you, Jennifer.
Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All right, being that we don't have any questions I would entertain a motion to vote favorably to send the audit to the full council for approval at the January council meeting.
I'll so move, Madam Chairperson.
Okay, motion Frank, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, second Sandra. Mary, can you do a roll call vote?
I will. We are gonna go Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Kingston, Pembroke, Plymouth.
Except.
Accept.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Lee. Plimpton,
Accept.
Whitman.
Accept.
And at large.
Accept.
Thank you. That's unanimous, Madam Treasurer.
Great, thank you. So Mary, I would imagine that Brenda and Charlie and Sean and you are all feeling good about the results of this audit. So well
We
done.
are, I'm actually going to just give Brenda just a little bit, so yes, let me stop by saying, yes, it's been incredibly wonderful. Looking, because where I look straight this way is where Brenda sits, and seeing her be like a dog to a bone in terms of just getting those numbers and being responsive and incredibly just responsive to the audit. And as you saw, that one deficiency, well aware of, it's and all of you been aware as we do the financials in terms of the AAA, the Area Agency on Aging, and when we get those funds that come in and out, it is an incredible staff and what everybody has done. So appreciate that. And I unless Brenda, do you have anything else to say? And just in terms of that one deficiency, I think between you, Sean and David, you meet on a weekly basis to address that through the conversations we've had. The great thing about with CLA is that they're aware of other regional planning agencies and, that whole state retirement fund and that liability, they're aware of it. They know she would like to be kept up to date, but where we are with that. So, I feel really terrific about the staff, but also the relationship with the new auditing firm. So.
Yeah, definitely. She's been terrific to work with, and it's felt very smooth. And, I felt more involved and more organized and more, in tune with what's happening in the audit than ever before, quite honestly, because, we really worked closely together. So we were a big part of it, much more a part of the audit than we have been in past years. So I'm really thrilled.
And I know that you have with the motion, and I know at the agenda at the bottom, there was a potential of another finance meeting, but that was only if staff had recommendations. At this point, we're not anticipating a November, I think it was 27th, council meeting, finance meeting. We will go right into that summit for December 7th. And then, as you had mentioned, the full council will need to adopt this. And it's more of a matter of an agenda item to accept the finance report. So all the recommendations are continuing to move forward. And I know that John Costa is on, and John over the weekend had read it diligently and had some great suggestions, and there were some things back and forth. So, again, the finance and any of the council members are welcome to not only just talk to Brenda, Charlie, Sean, myself, any staff member, if there are questions along the way.
Did anyone else have anything for Mary or Brenda, Sean, Charlie they wanted to add before we wrap things up here?
I have one thing, if I could.
Absolutely.
Meet Olivia May
Oh.
Kenyon, my 5th grandchild.
Oh, she's beautiful, Lee.
Oh, congratulations.
Beautiful.
Oh,
That's
so cute.
awesome. Thank you for sharing.
All right.
Wow.
That was
Congratulations, Grandpa.
Sunday evening.
Oh, no kiddingly.
Nice.
Excited.
That's wonderful.
Quick 42-hour labor session.
Wow.
Oh, just in and
That's
out.
rough.
But everybody's well, all's good.
Wow, that-
Good. Oh, yay.
And when are you flying out?
Well, no, this is Agawam.
Oh, good.
No, so we were out there. We were there. We saw the baby on Sunday. And I suspect my wife will be out there sooner than I will, but we'll be out there.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank
All
you.
this great,
All right.
wonderful news.
It's wonderful.
Madam Director, may
Yes.
I just say that thank God it doesn't look anything like Lee at all. It's basically Patty, believe me.
Now,
Again.
Frank, remember, Lee didn't partake earlier. You might be opening a door that you don't want to. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming out tonight. So we'll see you at the summit in December. And
I
then
will, I would like to make a
Yeah.
motion to adjourn.
Before we
Right.
adjourn, I just wanted to add one comment, Christine,
sure,
Noreen.
Noreen.
Yeah, since I'm new on the council, just kind of looking in at all the work people do, I just want to extend a tremendous thank you to all the staff and all the work that has been done on this. Because this is all new to me, you know, how the council works and the monies and the background stuff. So it's really quite the learning curve for me. And I just want to say thank you to Brenda, to Sean, to Charlie, to Mary, to Megan, to everyone. So much work has been done on this. And it looks fabulous. Everything is great. So I just wanted to say thank you because I really appreciated it. And I'm the new guy, the new gal on the block learning. Thank you all.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Noreen. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
that. That's
Thank you, Noreen.
very, very true. We have a great team. All right. So we've got a motion from Frank to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right.
Okay.
Second, Lee. All right. How about a raise of hands? All in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.